So, ladies and gentlemen, the hour has come, the time is nigh, and we have our very own Africa seed, Africa's own plant. She is from South Africa. She is the president of Professional Speakers Association. I've been privileged to work with her on multiple projects. She is also the vision bearer of the Pan-African Speakers Summit. She also is the president of the Global Speakers Federation. She also pioneers the Red Jacket Speakers Community Association organization. Charlotte Kemp is a benign, prolific, powerful, very passionate speaker. She's a futurist as well. Tonight, she's going to be talking to us on how to scale our speaking careers, all the way from South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, all the reactions possible, your hands clapping. Welcome, Charlotte Kemp.
Thank you very much, Brittany. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Brittany, I was introduced to Brittany a couple of years ago by another speaker colleague from Cameroon who now lives in Germany. And he saw Brittany do some work and he came to me and said, please, we've got to sponsor Brittany and get her onto Red Jacket Speaker Bureau. And I've been delighted to work with you, Brittany, and to have you part of the Pan-Africa Speaker Summit as well. Just a slight correction so that we stay authentic about these things. I'm past president of both Global Speakers Federation and the Professional Speakers Association of Southern Africa. And I really, really believe in building communities of speakers wherever we are in the world, but particularly in Africa, because the Global Speakers Federation is an organization for speaker associations, national or regional speaker associations to belong. It's a professional body. So if you were a surgeon, if you were an internal auditor, if you are a marketer, there are associations for all those kinds of people. There's associations for professional speakers. And when we join with our peers, we learn some of what I'm going to be sharing with you today, but we learn and we grow and we develop and we keep a high standard of our profession. And that's very important. But across Africa, there's only one association that has scaled, that is large enough to have joined the Global Speakers Federation, and that is Professional Speakers Association of Southern Africa. So it's not South Africa, it's Southern Africa. So it encompasses Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Mauritius, etc. But there's this whole continent of over 1 billion people and so many professional speakers, and there aren't associations in those other places. There are associations that are starting, that are growing, but it's really, really hard work to get an association started. So if you ever encounter your associations and the work to build community in your country or in your region, please join hands, get involved, and try and support that happening so that we can have more connection and more community. And so what I like to do, and especially with the Pan-Africa Speaker Summit, and I know I'm throwing around a whole lot of things you might not be aware of, but I'll explain a little bit more as we go through. But we have a Pan-Africa Speaker Summit every year. We just had the 4th one just at the end of September, and we'll have another one again next year. And this is not our associations. These are this is just a community we're building, and it's run by Voices into Africa that I am part of. And this is a business, so it's not an association, but it's a business designed to support you as individual speakers and those of you building communities like Brittany is doing here and Oliver's done in the past. So I just want to encourage you to do that so that we can get more representation across Africa, so that African voices can be heard in the rest of the world. Because I know, because I've worked with so many speakers here, that we have really such incredible wisdom and talent here. And I think the rest of the world should know. So I'm recording this session so I can share it, and anybody who's missed it in the past, you can join in. So if you have missed it and you're seeing this as a recording, you're welcome to. I'm very glad to have you watching this. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I would love that. Let me know that it came from this particular webinar, and we can just exchange a few things. And I'll share some other resources with you as well, and maybe put you onto the database on Voices into Africa so you can see all the other projects and activities we're doing, because we'd love to be able to share those resources with you. As we get towards the end of this, I'm going to share something in particular. So I work with Bruce Wade at Voices into Africa, and he set up a learning program. And there's kind of 5 stages of this learning program. The last stage is something that I get involved in, again, with speakers, but it's at a really high level of strategy in terms of international business. The other stages, there's various kind of paths to them and elements, and some of them are paid and some of them aren't. But the very first one, it used to be a paid program. And then Bruce said, let's just share it with people. So when I get to the end, I'm going to share a link with you and tell you how to go over there and register and join that. The learning actually happens in a WhatsApp group. So you'll join the WhatsApp group, and then you'll be able to get content and engage with other people in that group and learn and continue your learning journey for your speaking. And all of that will help you to eventually scale your business. I know that Brittany asked that we look at scaling the business, but we know you can't build a skyscraper if you don't have good foundations. You can't build a sustainable, thriving speaking business unless you got the foundations in place. So what I've decided is to share with you tonight what has been called the 8 competencies of a professional speaker. Competencies are like skills. They are skills, but with a skill, it's kind of particular and focus on something, on an area of work that you're doing. But a competency is something that you build into your own skill set, and you can use it in different places. So what I'm going to show you here are the kind of competencies, the mindsets that you want to take when you look at your speaking business, so that you can build something that can continue to grow. And what you may find if you have a long speaking career is that you will do something in the next 18 months, 2 years, and you'll think, oh, I've learned how to do this. This is great. And then in a 5 or 6 years time, if you're still in this business and you're still growing, you're going to go, oh, wow, I knew nothing back then. I'm still doing the same thing, but now at a deeper level with deeper appreciation and more experience. That means that you're growing and developing. So it's not a straight line. It's not a destination. It's a continual learning and growing as your speaking career develops. Okay. So if anybody is still messaging, I've got an eye on the waiting rooms. If anybody joins us, I'll be able to bring them into the thing. I would love it if you have any questions or comments. Please put them into the chat box. I will make sure that I got the chat open so that I can see. And I've just let somebody else in so we can join, greet them as well, which will be good. All right. So successful speaking, what does it look like? How do you build the speaking business so that it grows and develops into something that is amazing? Just want to make sure, sorry, just managing a couple of different things on my screen here at the same time. Okay, so the very first thing that you need in order to build and grow a successful speaking business is something called professional awareness. And it might sound like irrelevant, like what is this? Why do I need to know these things? But it's important because if you don't understand the ecosystem that you're a part of, the community, not just locally, in your hometown in Cameroon, but if you don't understand this at a bigger level, you're going to miss opportunities. You're going to fail to engage in places that are valuable to you, and you're not going to actually be able to grow and develop. So professional awareness is realizing, like I just said in my little introduction there, the difference between, for example, speaker associations and speaker bureaus or other communities of speakers and Toastmasters. These are all different kinds of organizations. What do they mean? a lot of people will join Toastmasters. And if you have the opportunity, I highly recommend it. Toastmasters is a very good program. It helps you to develop both your leadership skills and your speaking skills. And it's very valuable, those skills, in terms of, making progress in your career. Some Toastmasters become professional speakers, but not most of them. And some people who are very good Toastmasters and follow the Toastmaster rules and ways find it difficult to become more natural professional speakers. They might not like me saying that, but that has been our experience. But join any opportunity you get, frankly, any opportunity you get for stage time, take it, learn and grow and develop, because all of that practice and experience will help you to learn more. So Toastmasters is an organization. Being a Toastmaster means that you are a public speaker, not a professional speaker. What does that mean? And that's part of professional awareness. A public speaker is someone who can stand on stage and speak. You might be a natural MC at your friend's wedding, at a party. It might be a lot of people who are preachers. They are public speakers. Maybe you represent a charity, or you've written a book and you want to talk about this topic, and you're a good public speaker. And that's great. There's lots of good public speakers. And if that's what you want to do, and you don't want to do the rest of what I'm going to talk about, that's great. Be a good public speaker. The world needs more good public speakers, because some people are terrible. But the difference between public speaker and professional speaker is that as a professional speaker, you take this seriously. You're here tonight, or you're watching this video, you take this seriously, and you'll learn the skills and the competencies to become better, and you intend to one day be paid for it if you're not already being paid. Being a professional means that you are financially compensated. That doesn't mean that you have to be paid right up front. So there's a lot of times, as you're developing your speaking career and your skill, that you're going to do what we call showcase speaking. We never say free. It's a showcase speech. And a showcase means that you've agreed to waive your fee for this event for a good reason. It could be because it's a charity. It could be because it's a Rotary Club or something like that. It could be because you're helping somebody out. Or it could be because you know you need to develop the skill and experience. So you need every opportunity, and you're not maybe good enough yet to be paid. So you are an aspiring professional speaker. In that case, work out what you think your fee should be, draw up an invoice, discount it by 100%, and print it out, and make sure that the person who you're speaking with, your client, gets that invoice. They need to know what you believe you're worth. You're not worth naught. I'm sorry, I can't remember your currency, but you're not worth nothing. You are worth something. You have discounted it by 100% this time for a good reason. When somebody goes to that organizer and says, wow, Brittany was great. We'd like her to come and MC our event. How much is she? You don't want the organizer to say, Brittany's a free speaker, because that discounts your value. It undermines your value, and undermines everything you're doing to develop. You want that client to say, this is Brittany's fee. We negotiated. She did it for us as a favor, and she's discounted for 100%. So we haven't paid her anything, but this is her fee. They need to be able to know that. They need to be able to communicate that. So that's really important. So these are some of the things about being professionally aware. Another thing is, like I said, the difference between your associations. If you have an association, I know that there is a group in Cameroon, I can't remember what you call, Cameroon National Speakers Association. Join that, support it. It's really hard to get those things going. So please support them, okay? And put your hand up and volunteer and try and make that work. I always like to encourage speaker groups in parts of the world that don't have enough representation, is try and look at something regional. So we've got PSA Southern Africa. It's not just South Africa. So it could be PSA, West Africa, and you could join up with other countries and speakers in other places and kind of share the love, support more people, make it more viable so that it could grow and develop. But anyway, so those are associations. If you had the chance, join them. You can also join the Virtual Speakers Association International. So VSAI was set up to support the speakers in parts of the world where there isn't a local, national, or regional association. So there isn't one in your part of the world that belongs to the Global Speakers Federation yet. If you are really serious about your career, join VSAI. VSAI have sponsored the Pan-Africa Speaker Summit, which is just an event that we run, but they've supported it so that they can support and reach people like yourselves. So I think VSAI is a wonderful organization. They're very reasonable, but still very professional, and they got members from all around the world. So if you want to develop your speaking and have an international footprint, then that's something you want to look at. A speaker bureau, that's very different. That is a company that now gets you speaking opportunities or helps you to promote yourself. So we have Red Jacket Speaker Bureau, and Brittany's a member of Red Jacket Speaker Bureau. A lot of people misunderstand what a bureau is. They think it's like having a sports agent or an agent in Hollywood, and somebody signs you up and then they spend all their day trying to find you speaking engagements. All right. That's not what a speaker bureau does. A speaker bureau, they have their clients, and the client comes and says, okay, we've got this big event. We need 2 MCs. We need a futurist. We need somebody to talk about mental health. And the speaker bureau looks at their speakers and puts certain names forward, then the client chooses, and then those speakers get paid. We're not out there every day looking for work for each individual speaker. It can be part of your package, your professional development, your business of speaking. That can be part of it, and it should be if you're ready for that. But it's not. Far too many speakers who do not have this professional awareness, they think that I've got a good, important message. I'm going to sign up with a bureau, and the bureau is going to do everything, and I can just sit back and wait for the business. It's never going to happen. It does not work like that. You still have to work, and the speaker bureau partners with you or helps you or gives you a bit of an edge, but we can't solve all your problems. You're very welcome to join Red Jacket Speaker Bureau. Unlike the others, this is started and designed by speakers for speakers. So we know what it's like, and we spend a lot of time, and it's a cost to us, but still we don't charge for that. But we try and get our speakers to be on podcasts or to be to do showcase speaking so that they can get more experience and exposure. So these are some of the things you want to be aware of professionally as you try and put your speaking business together. You also want to think about, and we'll talk more about the business in a little while, but are you a speaker who wants to have a speaking career? So you want to speak as part of the other work that you do, or do you want to build a business around speaking? That's an important consideration. I'm just going to stop sharing just for a moment. Let me know if there's any questions or comments. And I'm going to share it this way instead. Nope, that didn't work. Hold on 1 minute. One of the things you need to learn how to do as a speaker is manage your technology. There, I think that might work a little bit better. And we just got somebody else joining us. As that person joins, I'm going to have a sip of tea. Okay, questions or comments? Oh, thank you. Okay, so that was professional awareness. The other thing we need is professional relationships. And that might seem like, oh, that's the same thing. What is this about? But a professional relationship, it's a component of your speaking business. It gives you an edge. It helps you to achieve more. How? For example, if you join a speaker association, one of the things that a speaker association will tell you is we do not find you speaking engagements We're not a bureau. You cannot self-promote. So you can't join an association, then just brag about yourself. That doesn't work. Oh, we're just going to mute everybody. There we go. All right. So a speaker association will say, you can't come in here and self-promote. But when you join these associations, when you build a network or a community like you're doing here, you have professional relationships, which means that as your career grows and people know what you speak about, pardon me, then on occasion, there will be opportunity for your colleagues to refer business to you. But they'll only do that if you're good, if you're networking with them so they know what it is you do, if you can add value to the client, and if you have a relationship of trust. So if you're always trying to grab all the speaking opportunities and you never refer anything to anybody else, and you badmouth your colleagues, you're not going to get any business. But if you can support and grow each other and co-create these opportunities, then that is something that happens naturally. It comes out of these relationships. Other professional relationships would be connecting with, you've got a few more people joining us, so welcome to you. When you're networking with other kinds of business, I don't know if you have BNI, which is that Business Network International, or other business networking groups or entrepreneur groups. When you're networking with them, you're networking because you need to understand and learn about their business because your topic's going to add value there. And they need to know what it is that you do, whether it's speaking or MC or coaching or doing training courses or anything like that. So you need to be able to network like that and share your value so that they know what you're about. Professional relationships also mean that you treat these relationships seriously. So one of the things I always encourage is that you build your network on social media as well. Now, I know in a lot of places in Africa, Facebook is a really popular platform, Facebook and sometimes Instagram, to create a following. So you're sharing content, people are following you, people see what you're doing. That is great. You're getting your message out, you're building a community around you. But if you are interested in international work, please take LinkedIn seriously. Please make sure that your LinkedIn profile looks good, and then polish it and then make it better, and then add demonstrations on your LinkedIn profile about what you speak about and what your topic is, and get recommendations on LinkedIn where people say, Brittany came to speak, she did a good job, I'd hire her again. On LinkedIn, that is worth thousands of dollars worth of marketing that you could do, years worth of effort in other places. Your LinkedIn recommendations are so powerful. You get that because you have good, solid professional relationships. So please look at that. My invitation always stands. If you've heard me speak, connect with me on LinkedIn. Tell me where you heard me speak. Say hi. Let me know where you are in your speaking career, and I'll connect with you and look out for you online. And if at any point you want to say, Charlotte, I've just done something in my LinkedIn profile, can you have a look? Then I'll have a look and give you some advice. No charge. I'll do that. Okay. Anytime on LinkedIn. Don't ask me though for a recommendation, because I haven't heard, apart from Brittany, I've never heard any of you speak. So I can't share my reputation with you until I know who you are and how you speak and what you do. And then I'll be able to give you a recommendation if it's worth it. So that's how we kind of nurture those professional relationships. But LinkedIn is really powerful. You need to demonstrate your speaking. So YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, anywhere where you can share videos, really good, very powerful. But LinkedIn, in order to establish your professional reputation, LinkedIn is really seriously important. Okay, so now you know more or less where things are in the world, different organizations. If you have an opportunity to travel anywhere, find out if there's a speaker association there, connect with people there. If you want to speak to Brittany, speak to myself, speak to others and say, I'm going to Singapore for the first time, or to the UK. Is there anybody there that I could meet? And you'll find that speakers are, on the whole, a very generous and open group, and they'd love to connect with you and give you some advice or share some information. I don't know the person, but a speaker in Australia was referred to me to say, he says, I'm going to Nigeria to speak. I've never been to Nigeria. In fact, I've never been to Africa before. What should I expect? So we went through a few things and I said, do you have a yellow fever card? Oh, I better go and find that out. So there's practical things and also kind of just a little bit of the culture that we can share with people. So ask and you'll find somebody who can introduce you. Just make a little connection so that you can make more value out of that particular event. Now, you're doing that. What is it you speak about? Brittany, you're an MC, and I'm sure many of you are MCs, but to really establish your career, you're going to end up at some point talking about something, a topic that is yours, that you're an expert in. Some organizations, some conferences might say, we need a motivational speaker. Find us somebody who's done some great things and we'll give them a little bit of money and we'll give them a nice goodie bag and a bunch of flowers and they can come and motivate us. You will find some of those opportunities. You can't scale those though. You scale your business. You make money by having a topic. If you're just starting out, especially if you're young, you may not have a topic yet, but don't worry, it will come to you. Okay. And it's hard to find out what your topic is. So for some speakers who have had significant experiences in their lives, the people who've climbed mountains and survived terrible things or financial drama or whatever it is, or mental health, they've got a personal experience to share. Others are topic matter experts. So when I started speaking about social media because social media was quite new back then, and it was some time ago. And people could play on social media, but they couldn't work out how to use it as business. And in South Africa, there was very little understanding of it. And I was learning with everybody else who was doing social media, but I was also a speaker. So I could speak about social media. I then became an expert in LinkedIn. People still come to me like 12, 14 years later, they come back to me and say, Charlotte, can you help me with LinkedIn? Because I'm stuck here. So I developed a really good reputation. So I became a topic matter expert in social media and in LinkedIn. I spoke about it. I taught about it. I did workshops. I did my own content. I wrote books. And then I thought if I had to keep talking about Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, I didn't want to. I wanted to move on. So I evolved. And I went back and I started studying. I learned new things. I read books. I wrote books. I joined the Association of Professional Futurists and I became a professional futurist. And that's been a long journey to come to the point where I am recognized and respected as a futurist. But that's my topic. I can speak about speaking because I got the experience. I can speak about social media. I can speak about mental health because I've got stories. I can speak about a bunch of other things. But I am a futurist. That is my topic. And I don't just say, the future's in your hands. You can write your own future. If we all come together, we can have a nice future. I've really studied this deeply. I've dived down. So there's a concept we talk about your topic being an inch wide and a mile deep. So you have to really, really know your stuff. You don't know that. When I first started out, for the first 5 years, I did not call myself a futurist because I knew there was such a vast amount that I didn't yet know. And I know when I talk about 5 years or 14 years, if you're young, that might feel like forever for you. But I promise you, if you're building a speaking business and you want to scale it and you're going to be doing this in 5 years' time or in 14 years' time or in 25 years' time, and if you're young enough, you've got that time to do that. This is going to be something important. You can switch your topic. You don't want to switch backwards and forwards. You don't want to pretend that you can speak about everything. I know I can speak about a lot of things, but I market myself about I am an expert in futures thinking. And I've got my models, my books, my workshops, my online courses that I can demonstrate to people what I do. So your topic development is really, really important. Now you've got a topic, you understand sort of how this business works. Now you need some platform mechanics, and that you really need to practice and get skilled at. So platform mechanics is standing on a stage and speaking, or being on social on Zoom in this case, and speaking. It could be Teams or WebEx or any of the other platforms. This particular picture is quite interesting because hotels and conference centers who design things, they put the screen right in the middle of the room and the projector right there, as if what is on the screen is the most important thing. And then the speaker, if they stand there, they get the words all over their face. In Toastmasters, they would be furious about this picture. In professional speaking, we know that this isn't good, but it's not all about the rules. It's about the engagement and the value. But you need to learn how to manage a room where the projector and the screen are the main thing and you're on the side. They're here for your message, not for your slide deck. All right. Anybody they can see the slide deck later. So you have to find out, how can you speak around this? If you've got a large room and there's no microphone, how do you deal with that? If you're online and you're doing something, you have a power outage, how are you going to deal with that? So there's a whole lot of technical things and platform skills that you need to learn. This on its own could be like 2 hours of conversation, and we wouldn't even touch the sides. There's so much to this. But the best advice I'll give you actually came from a Toastmaster, Darren LaCroix, Toastmaster world champion a couple of years ago. And his advice for all speakers who wanted to be good speakers, he said, stage time, stage time, stage time. Get every opportunity to speak. The more you do that, the better you will become. So I really encourage you to find every opportunity, even if you have to. And I've done this I've had a mastermind of women speakers. We met for many years together. Get together on a weekend and stand up and speak to each other. Okay. Do that so that you get that experience. And then you can kind of like break it down afterwards. Like, oh, I really liked how you did that, or this might be a problem, or you were speaking too fast, or whatever it is. So get that practice and an experience. Tea break. I did a presentation first thing this morning, and now this one at the end of the day, my voice is, I'm afraid, a little tired. All right. So that those mechanics then come into the presenting and performing part. Is still talking about getting that practice and experience speaking. This is quite interesting because that performing part, this is a competency. When you're speaking, you are performing, but how much of it is acting and how much of it is natural? Not that acting is bad, okay, but beg your pardon. I've done some videos recently, and at the Pan-Africa Speaker Summit, I was looking at some of the promotional videos, and some people who are a little bit more formal, they will, the video's like, hi, my name is Charlotte Kemp, and I'm going to be speaking to you about this topic tonight. And that's good. That's nice and neat. But there's one particular speaker who's just so natural. She goes, hi, so I'm Charlotte, and I'm going to share with you this conversation tonight, which is really important, and this is why I want to talk to you. And she's just like so natural, so effortless. So you won't know. And in the beginning, you might be a little bit, there'll be lots of nerves and anxiety. So you might be either a little stilted, or speaking too fast, or being too formal, and you'll have to work that out. Again, stage time, get as much practice as you possibly can, and then that will start to flow out of that. If you are on TikTok at all, I encourage you to go and look for a woman called Hermine Ilago. I'll put it into the chat right here so you can go and find her. On TikTok, Hermine Ilago. And she's a Namibian speaker. And once you see her profile, you'll see lots of different posts and things. And what she's done is she did a series called 60 Days of Reclaiming Her Voice and Her Message. And to see how she started, pardon me, and as she's going through these 60 days and how she's speaking now, it's becoming, again, effortless, because she posted a video every day for 60 days. She practiced how to articulate her message over 60 days, 2 months, every day, solid. And that practice got better. So if you don't have an audience like this, go online and do it that way. I was watching a very similar exercise on Chinese Red Note, and it was a young Chinese man who wanted to learn how to speak English. And so he also had, I don't know if it was a 60-day challenge, but every day he would go on and he was saying, this is day 15 of me trying to practice speaking English in front of the camera. And the first couple of times I came across it, his English is stilted and he's struggling for words, and you can just see he feels awkward. But by the end, he's more relaxed and he's telling stories, and the community around him are just like, go, dude, this is so fantastic. So find ways to practice, because that will, you cannot be good until you've been okay, and you cannot be okay unless you've been bad to start with. So start and then practice, practice, practice. You'll polish it, you'll get better and more confident. Once you're confident with how to handle a stage, you can focus on your topic. Once you're happy with your topic, you can focus back again on better stage skills. So these things keep going backwards and forwards as your career develops. Okay. So now what? We still, where's the money? Show me the money. Authorship and product development. This is part of your business. This is the part that scales. So like I said, and I'll use myself as an example. Let me just see. So you need to demonstrate and share your topic beyond just standing on stage. And Brittany, I know I keep referring to you, but that's because I know you best. And it's a little bit different for an MC because you don't yet have a product. But right from the beginning, when we first spoke, I said that you certainly have a stage presence. You have a skill set. At some point, you're going to develop other skills beyond just your MC work, and you'll find topics that are meaningful for you, and you'll be able to articulate that and develop and grow. So don't rush it, but keep feeling it out until you know what's going on. But if you've got a topic, if this is something you're speaking about, then you want to develop depth to this so that you can sell other things. A speaker who only gets paid when they stand on stage and speak can earn good money. But if they don't have a business around it, it's a lot of work to do that all the time. So that's why you need authorship and product development. So you need other things. So for example, just one moment, please. Okay. So for example, when I first started out and I was speaking about social media, this is the first little book that I wrote. It's called The Golden Rolodex, and it's all about social media and having a network. If you look really closely, you can see my little picture there. It's a very, very small book. Okay, really tiny. I don't know. I think it's about 6,000 or 7,000 words in here. I was so proud of it. I showed it off to everybody. And it was necessary. It was a book like this isn't very expensive to print. I don't know what the numbers are, but it isn't very expensive. And I could send it to somebody in the post. I could give it to somebody at a meeting and say, this is what I speak about. And when you give somebody a book about your topic, you look serious. You look like you know what's going on. It is okay if your book is a little book. It does not have to be a big fat book like this one. So start with this. Okay. So I wrote about 3 of these before I wrote a big proper book. And that was about the beginning of my speaking journey. And then when I moved from social media onto futures thinking, I needed something to kind of plant my flag to say I am a futurist. And that is when I wrote this book. It took a long time. This was hard work. It was painful. I cried. I threw out about 3 versions of it before I found the style that I wanted to use to write it. It's called Futures Alchemist, which is my brand. But once I had it, I felt legitimate. I felt like now I'm a futurist. Here's my book, big book, all right, in comparison to the little book. So it was really important, but I could not have written this at the beginning of my career. I could not have written this at the beginning of learning about futures thinking. And now that's just one book. Now I have series of books on different topics. I have online communities, paid communities. So the coaching one, which I'm about to start to launch soon, another one on a platform called Patreon, where people can follow for free or they can get paid products. I've got books on Amazon and on Draft to Digital. I'm doing pre-recorded online courses so that people can go, I need to learn more about that. And Charlotte isn't doing a webinar or a workshop on this, at the moment, and they can go and attend something that I've recorded previously, and they can pay a small amount of money, like $15, and they can do the whole course, and then they can get a certificate and they can learn something. And all of those products are there so that while I'm talking to you, somebody else can be buying my book or watching my videos, and I can be earning money. They can be part of my communities and I can be earning money. I can go on holiday and my business keeps earning money. That's how you build a business. It might be difficult. It might seem really daunting to think about that at the moment, but there are lots of different ways of doing it. So look at your product being now your message, and find out different ways that you can share that. The easiest way to start with will be a book. If you haven't written a book, or if a book sounds really daunting to you, then the easiest way to get started with that would be to write blog posts on your website, to write long form content on LinkedIn or on Facebook or Instagram, but practice writing and articulating. If writing seems daunting to you entirely, that's okay. There are other ways of doing it. And you can learn how to use artificial intelligence. So you could record something, you could speak it, and then use AI to help you put that into the form of a book. So play around with those different techniques. Once you got all of that, then there's different platforms. And again, this is really a huge part of working all of this out. It can be quite complex. So I can't explain it all to you right now, but you can only get here once you really get familiar with your topic and you know more about it. There's kind of a rule of thumb. It says, when you stand on stage as an expert, for every 1 minute you're speaking, you've got 10 hours worth of content that you could be sharing. And that's why sometimes we run over, because there's so much we want to share. But a professional speaker never runs over time. We're going to go past the top of the hour because we started a little bit late. All right, so product authorship and product development. And later on, when I share the link in a moment with you for Voices into Africa and the learning program, some of this content will be in those various places. So sign up and get involved and see what is happening. Watch Bruce's content and you'll learn a whole lot. Now that you got your products and your business is set up, you need to do the sales and marketing. A lot of speakers complain that people aren't taking them seriously. Nobody wants to hear their message. Their message is so controversial that their message is being suppressed. And I want to respect the people, but I also know a lot of times when they think people are repressing their message, it's simply because they have not marketed themselves well enough. And people don't know what their topic is. They don't know what the message is. That there's nobody actively trying to suppress you. It's just that there's a lot of noise out there. So you have to make sure you've got a good message and you're marketing it consistently so that people can hear it. If you're not doing that, you're not going to get anywhere. Other people are not going to be looking out to try and find you business if you are not letting them know what you are doing. I got 2 inquiries in the last month from something that I marketed. I pitched myself to this conference 5 years ago, and I'm still getting inquiries from that event 5 years later, 5 or 6 years later. So you've got to get your message out there. You've got to let people know who you are. You've got to have coherent messaging and consistent messaging on your social media platforms. All right, so sales and marketing, and it's not just I'm a speaker, hire me. It is, if you have this problem, I have this solution. I am a professional speaker and an expert, and you can hire me. So make sure you lead with what is in it for them, not hire me because I need the business, but I've got a solution for you. That's how we get this right. Whew. All right. Your last competency here is managing the business. So it's not just about speaking, it's about actually having a business. And if you're starting off, then take it seriously from now. Don't let people say that this is your hobby or it's cute what you do, or it's just like a nice chapter in your life. If you really are serious about your professional speaking business, then take it seriously. Design your invoice and have it ready, even if it's going to say 0 units at 100% discount for the next 2 years. It doesn't matter. You send out an invoice every time because you're taking it seriously. Every time you have an inquiry, have a spreadsheet. Keep records of this. This was the inquiry. This was the event. Did I get the speaking engagement or not? Why didn't I get it? What do I need to get better next time so that I do get it? Is this a regular event? Do they have this every month or every year? Maybe I didn't get it this time, but maybe I can get it next time. When should I follow up with this person and reintroduce myself and pitch myself for the next opportunity? What other events are happening in my hometown that I could speak on? Am I getting good on social media? I wonder if I could speak for online Rotary clubs. How would I find online Rotary clubs? Go and Google it. Go onto Perplexity AI. It's really great for like live website researchers, and go look for associations in your hometown and the meetings that they have and the national meetings that they have. Can you have that meeting? Can you speak at that meeting via Zoom? Put yourself out there and keep records of everything. And every speaking engagement that you get, where you get money, you record it. Every time you get a speaking engagement and you do a good job, make sure you're connected to that person on LinkedIn and then go and ask them for a recommendation on LinkedIn. Having video recommendations is great, very powerful. Having letters is nice. Having WhatsApp messages is lovely. Having a LinkedIn recommendation for a good speaking engagement is worth thousands of dollars. Do that, please. It's really important. I take my LinkedIn profile very seriously. I don't know at the moment how many, but like I remember just the number, over 111 recommendations on LinkedIn, and I sort them strategically. I want to speak internationally. I want to be taken seriously internationally. So I will do a showcase talk in Malaysia, a show online, not all in person. Okay. And then a showcase talk for something in South America or Latin America, and then for Canada. And when people look at my profile, I can say, look, I've spoken in all these places, and in Kenya and in Cameroon and in Zimbabwe and in Botswana and Tanzania. I can demonstrate that I have this network, that I have this global awareness. And I can demonstrate that on LinkedIn, and then I bring that back into my business so that people can see that. So take your business seriously, even if nobody else does. If you're hearing this message, take your business seriously, even if nobody else does, but then build it very intentionally. So those are your 8 competencies. I'm going to give you a few more bonus insights here. One is, this is a combination of art and science. There's a whole lot of stuff you have to do, like the invoice and the record keeping and learning some platform mechanics and learning the technology. You need to do those things because you're a professional. But then there's also that art, that expression of how you think, of how you move people, of the emotion that you're creating, of the actual changes that you're making in their brains. That's art. And that's, for me, that's magic. That is a part that really works. Both of those parts need to work together to make your business scalable and successful. We are now in a globally connected world like never before. And COVID, for everything that it did, one of the benefits was that it got us online and got us connected. So if you're trying to build your business, do not just look at home. Make sure that you're savvy with your online skills. Start connecting and start putting your hand up to speak at other opportunities online. Even if you have to just be in the room for a couple of weeks or months before you get the chance to speak, but put yourself out there and grab those opportunities, because as your topic grows and develops, you want your reputation to be ready to take you to those places in person. So don't just wait. When I was president of Global Speakers Federation, and I got to travel to many of the association's annual conferences during that year. When I walked into a conference room, I met dozens of friends for the first time in person, because I'd spent years before nurturing these relationships online, so that when I got into the room, I already knew about these people, and we already had some kind of connection. So you want to do that. And now I'm going to give you my biggest secret. This is the toothbrush secret. I've done this. Friends and colleagues of mine have done this, and it has worked amazingly. You're going to do all the various things that you need to do for your business. And it might go well for a little while, and then you'll find yourself kind of stuck. And you know that what you need to do is not more marketing, not more posting of videos, but actually pitching, actually emailing somebody and saying, my talk is good for your event, and I'd like you to consider me. And you actually pitch yourself. So you're going out there. It's not marketing, it's the actual sales thing. It's you're actually going there trying to convince somebody to hire you. That can be very daunting for people. Yeah, I'd rather write like 3 more books than have to pitch myself. I'd rather edit some videos and post them onto TikTok than pitch myself. When I have pitched myself, I've got some really phenomenal opportunities. But it is one of the things that sticks a whole lot of speakers, that they can't make good progress because they're not pushing themselves forward for opportunities. So this is the secret. Get up in the morning, get dressed, do your hair, your makeup if you do, whatever it is, like you dress good. Don't brush your teeth. You're not allowed to brush your teeth until you have pitched yourself to a client, until you've sent an email or made a phone call and said, I would like you to consider me for your speaking event. This is why. Once you send that, you don't have to wait for a reply, but once you sent that email, then you can go back to the bathroom and brush your teeth. So colleagues of mine go, I shared this one once at an event, and like the next week, people were going, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I just brushed my teeth, finally. Or it's like, it's Wednesday, I haven't brushed my teeth since Monday because I really don't want to do this. And they would tell me, they would confess they've not been brushing their teeth. But it is, it's just a something, a reminder to us that we can't just put out good work and sit back and wait. We have to actually put ourselves forward. So remember that every time you brush your teeth in the morning, you might not be ready to do this yet, but one day you will be. And then you're going to pick up your toothbrush and put it down and say, I get to brush my teeth only after I've pitched myself for a speaking engagement. That is how you're going to grow and scale. And then you just want to be aware of time. This does not happen overnight. If you're building a skyscraper, you've got to go down first, build those foundations, and then you can come back to ground level, and then you can build up, and then you have an awesome business. So allow yourself the time. There is no rush. There is no shortcut. You're not going to become famous overnight. You're not going to be discovered like a Hollywood story. You have to grow and develop and scale yourself as you pace yourself as your career grows. And then eventually you will be the star and the speaker that you are dreaming of being right now. And I will congratulate with you when that happens. Okay, so that is what I want to share with you. Thank you so much. I'm going to put now a link into, actually, I think I'll just share with you the screen if I got it open. I'm going to put a link into the chat box in a moment so that you can see about this learning program. So I'll share this link now. But on Voices into Africa, there's a speaker development program. You can see that there's a couple of kind of levels to it, okay? This last part, the strategic speaker, that is my part. But this very first part, it actually says that there's a price here, but we've waived the price. But if you go there and you click on that register button, you can go over here and you can do an assessment, and it'll give you a bit of information. And after that assessment, you'll be able to join a WhatsApp group, and you can join that group for free so that you can start learning more of the stuff as you go along, and that will absolutely help you to make progress. Brittany, thank you very much for the invitation to share with your colleagues. I'd love to know if there's any questions or anything we want to discuss.
Wow, before they ask questions, thank you so much, Charlotte. I am so enriched. I'm powerfully inspired. You gave us more than what we expected, what I even anticipated for, and you took us a lot of time. I'm really glad. Thank you so much for honoring our invite, and the community is saying a very big thank you.